All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our morning note. It is 9:01 Eastern Standard Time. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Let's talk about market, shall we? Before we begin, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there is a little icon, a little square there, shows our logo. Click on that, subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. Really do appreciate it, as always, for bringing the channel up. Thank you again for all your support. Let's go ahead and talk about the markets. Dow futures up 95 points pre-market. Well, futures before the market. 30,265. NASDAQ is basically flat, down about 10 points, 12,627. S&P is up slightly, 3708. Russell 2000 up about 0.61% at 1928. Funny enough, yesterday IWM were looking to play it, and there was no volume, so that kind of sucks. Bitcoin had a little bit of a ride yesterday. They were down as much 3% on the future side, about 17,000 at one point. Now it's at 18,615. Pretty resilient. Again, tough nut to crack at that 20,000 level. Crude oil futures up 1.14%, 46.12 a barrel. Gold futures down 0.67%, 1862. Silver futures down 1.12%, 24.46 an ounce. Euro dollar for my forex people, 121.21, 16 pips to the upside. 104.14, basically flat on the dollar yen. Dollar index is down slightly, 0.20%, 90.78, and the VIX is down about 0.58% pre-market. Good morning, good morning. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some pre-market movers, and then we'll talk about what's moving today. American Airlines up about 3.69% pre-market. On the Dow, Apple was price upgraded today by Morgan Stanley, 0.32%. Boeing had its first 737 MAX flight in Brazil that landed safely, up 0.84%. Disney up on a price upgrade, 1.66%. Pre-market Johnson & Johnson up about 1%. Chevron 1.43%. Microsoft down about 0.28%. S&P, Pfizer up 1.48%. Apple 0.32% like we spoke about. Occidental Petroleum 2.61%. Norwegian up 2.81%. United Airlines 1.47% pre-market. NASDAQ movers, you have DocuSign down about 1.46%, Zoom 1.82%, NXP down 2%. So the semiconductors are down. Same thing with AMD, down 0.22%. JD.com up 0.34%, Tesla up 0.63%, Moderna up 1%. Pre-market Baidu up 2.18%. And some other names here on the NASDAQ that we look at. None of these are really worth our time. Let me see here. I'm going to cancel this download. I don't need that. Let's see on what's moving and the price upgrades. I went ahead and posted some price upgrades here on the Twitter. Let's see. Oh, one piece of note here. The prior 14 winning streaks of 10 days for the NASDAQ 100, the 11th day has always been green. Something to think about. Lowe's announced a $15 billion share buyback program. Lowe's sees fiscal year 2020 total sales increase about 22% to the upside. Lowe's sees fiscal year 2020 comparable sales up 23%. Their EPS, adjusted EPS for fiscal year 2020, adjusted EPS $8.62 with 8.72. So Lowe's is up pre-market. I'm sorry, Apple was upgraded by Wedbush, not Morgan. Wedbush, $160 is their price target. Sets a $200 bull case on major holiday tailwinds. And as you know, Apple released their new AirPods Pro, about $550 headphones. Let's see what else. Disney was price upgraded by Morgan Stanley to $175 a share from $160. Remember, that's one of our top 10 stocks of 2020. Pfizer, we talked about the U.S. government has options to acquire up to 500 million COVID-19 vaccine doses. Let's see here. Moderna was downgraded by Needham from buy to hold. And Boeing was price upgraded by Jefferies, 275 from 250. Roku was price upgraded 375 to 220 from 220. That was Roku. We own shares, again, one of our top 10 stocks of 2020. JP Morgan raised price target for Tesla from $80 to $90. There you go. Of all things, that's where we are. And also, Robinhood hires Goldman Sachs to lead possible $20 billion IPO next year. As you know, Airbnb and DoorDash will be releasing their their IPOs. I don't have the date exactly when that is. So that's where we are. Good morning. Good morning. So now it's time to answer some questions. Good morning. Do you usually buy options expiring the current week or the following week? After Wednesday is usually the next week. Good morning. What's good entry to buy Roku shares? On Roku, we've been talking about that forever. Roku right now, again, I don't like buying on an uptrend. I like to buy in a pullback. But again, if it's your entry, it's your first time buying this stock, just get in if you need to. Good morning, everybody. BBY or BABA? BABA. BABA would be definitely a better upside play. What's good price target to go in on Billy? Billy, B-I-L-I. Never heard of this name, but again, I like when it goes down, not when it's up. So I probably go around 70 would be a good level. But again, if it's your first time buying stock, just get in. It's fine. Apple keeps bumping its head. Yeah, right at that 125 level. Well, it should break today. Cheniere Energy long. I don't know what Cheniere Energy is. I didn't need the ticker. Space. Yeah, Space has all the fun pre-market for some insane reason, but it is a pre-market. Disney, same thing. Love that stock. Again, we own it, and it's been running pretty strongly. So again, right around 156.05 looks to be breaking out. BA as well. BA looking solid, but again needs to break 240. That's kind of the level needs to break. Calls over 242 would be definitely prudent. BBY price action. This is Bed Bath and Best Buy. Best Buy has been definitely on a downtrend. It's, you could see the 100 and the 50 are breaking down below the 200. Not exactly a bullish sign. You can see it's bumping its head at 50. Wouldn't buy calls here, but for the stock, if you want to go ahead and own it, this is probably a good place to own it. After earnings, they did fall. Our snap calls in the money are still down. Is that due to demand not being there? Yeah, it's all about demand. Look at lows moving 160 calls. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, well, 160 is your resistance. Take a look at maybe the 160s for next week before you do anything. Let's see if there's any volume. Let's see. CLK 240 calls for CLX. Is it CLX? CLX 240 calls. It's pretty bullish, but it's for next year, so I can understand it. Unless there's a lot of volume there, I don't see it here. SPLK, looking for the 180 calls. Wow, pretty bullish. Looking for uptrend. I'd wait to break that 170 level first. And BBY, which is 150 for January, that's really bullish. I wouldn't get into that. Not at this level. You're going to retrace 124 in a month? I doubt it. Palantir long-term entry. Palantir, we've been talking about that name. We got into it with our investment club. Palantir looks good. Again, if you have not got into already, then you could buy it here if you like. But again, if you do own it, wait for a pullback. What's your thoughts on Amazon? Love Amazon long-term, but again, it's basically just kind of treading water. Not much going on Amazon. I wouldn't trade it. Again, I wouldn't touch it until it breaks down below 3,000 for buying shares. How many options do you trade per week? It just really depends. It really depends on market movement. After the 18th of December, guys, that's it. You're not going to get much. You're not going to get much action. Don't overtrade in December just because. So don't expect much movement after December 18th. It's this week and next week, and after that, you're not going to get much. The volume is going to dissipate. Would you enter BABA stock then? BABA, my re-entry will be 250. Right now, it is treading water, unfortunately. Good entry price for PayPal. PayPal, I do love. PayPal would get below 200 would be great. But again, if you've never owned the stock, I just get in here. Neo, again, I like 32. That's where I'll re-enter. It looks like it wants 50. So again, if you have never entered, I'd enter here. Let's see. VWAG is a good foreign play. They have gone electric, top set on Europe. I've never heard of this name, so I can only go over Volkswagen. I can only go over the chart, and when it comes to automakers, the only two I own, NIO and Tesla. Only other one I own. The only ones I want. NIO this week. Yeah, NIO looks pretty solid. I'd wait for next week if anything. The one that look really decent are the 50s, but again, it's right there at that resistance is right at 48.88. It is up pre-market. If we get a continuation and it breaks that 200-day, which is right at 48.80, 51 is your next resistance level. Thoughts on morning BBY? I already answered BBY. Calls on space. Yeah, I'm looking at space today, obviously. Students got into that. But we're looking at some volume and see if we get an increase here. 36 calls could be in effect maybe for next week. Thoughts on AMD 95 calls? AMD, for some reason, the chips are being rotated out. AMD, NXPI, Micron are all being rotated out, but AMD, you can see it's just basically hovering here. It's just channeling here. So again, needs to break 96 before we do anything again for the future. I did have some 100 calls that probably isn't going to work out, but either way, I'm holding them. Opinion on any IPOs? I'm not buying any IPOs until I see their first earnings. I learned my lesson from Lyft. I bought Lyft at their IPO. I'm still red on that stupid thing. And I'm not selling it, but I'd rather wait for their first earnings report. Thoughts on QS? Yeah, I posted that on Instagram. I hate to chase these kind of moves, honestly, but if you break 80.85, then taking a look at the volume and see what you get. Do you think PLTR hits 30 this week? I do. I do think it hits 30. Absolutely. I think it hits 30 this week. AMD 30 weekly calls, just went over AMD. DKNG looking solid again, one of our favorite stocks. Oh, DKNG, DraftKings. Again, I love this name. It's above the 100-day. I wouldn't trade options on it. I've gotten burned with options on them, being in the money and still being red. So I don't recommend them to trade options again because I got burned on them. So maybe they're a little funky, but again, to own the stock, definitely love them long term. Absolutely. AAL's on fire. I had one of our students talk about the 18 calls. I wish I would have listened to him, but I was pretty deep in what I had, so I stepped away. I have DAL instead of AAL, not options, but just the stock. And I do think that if we do break here on this wick of 43.93 on DAL, we can get some continuation. Maybe take a look at the 44.50 calls, maybe the 45s. How would you trade their breakouts? On what? Netflix entry level for options today, gap down overnight. On Netflix, they were downgraded. It was a switch, bait and switch with Roku. I like Netflix. I just think it's too expensive. I think there's better opportunities out there. I'd stay away from them. Uber, I like. You're seeing a nice little push here. I think it does retest at 55. Thoughts on shorting Penn? I wouldn't short Penn or any of these gambling names. I think that it's going to continue to the upside. I own Penn stock, so I wouldn't really short them. I mean, unless you start breaking down below 68, maybe, then I would buy stock in it, more stock. CCL, again, Carnival Cruise Line is moving to the upside. 24.50 breaks, we could take a look. How do I feel about Snow? I think Snow is extremely expensive. Its valuation is based on price to sales, and it's the highest out there. So it's really expensive. So for me, I wouldn't want to buy here at all. I would want to pull back. If it gets below 300, I'll have that conversation. Maybe. But again, I think I may have missed this run up. I already have cloud plays. I already have a lot of cloud names in my portfolio. I don't want to add Snow just because. How do you trade breakouts in general? It's very simple. So, as example, AAL, you get into breakout here. What's your breakout? 1696. You had a breakout at 1559. You had a breakout here at 1794. You wait for volume, and then you go ahead and base on that. You're welcome. X, yeah, steel, U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel is on the move. Absolutely. Looks funny enough. I had an old retracement set up here, and you can see that it's finally retracing back. It's been dying, and you could see here on a 20-year chart how bad it's been. It was as high as 47, and it's finally coming back. So if we take a look at X, again, you can forget these retracement levels. I can go and clear these. Let me see. Clear, remove drawing. There you go. If it breaks 1985, then we can start taking a look for sure. What are your thoughts on Ai Ipo? I don't know about AI. I don't know what stock that is. I'd have to look. Airbnb, I like the company. I do. I like their setup, and I've used Airbnb. But again, when it comes to IPOs, if you want to get in, I totally get it. If you're all about it, fine. I would buy small nibbles to get in. I may just get into a small nibble. Again, don't go all in on it. But again, I'd rather wait for earnings because I got burned with Lyft and I learned my lesson. CRM buy. CRM is a buy long term. Absolutely. CRM is a great company. And BABA is definitely a buy. I like BABA long term. It's one of my largest positions in my portfolio. 250 is when I'm going to add some more. Have you ever traded Siri? I have not traded Sirius Satellite. No, I've not traded them. C3 AIPO. I don't know what that is. Oh, Dropbox. There was Joseph's asked about Dropbox. Yeah, Dropbox on the move too. The tech is on the move. You know, these momentum names are on the move. Break 2165. We can start taking a look. I mean, guys, we're in a bull market. I've been saying it. There's a lot of opportunities out there. Absolutely. But again, you have to stay disciplined. Stick to what you know. Stick to the charts. Stick to the volume, and you'll be fine. I don't recommend that you chase every single thing you see. Go by the volume. Again, what is the volume? Right here on your options chain. If you see anything above 1,000 or 2,000, that's fine. Any unusual activity over 10,000, 20,000, that's usually a good signal. But then you want to go back to your charts and you want to see if it's a breakout or a breakdown. That's what you want to see. Low, Diz, or Square. I say Square would be the better one for growth. I like Disney a lot, but I love Lowe's too. So I think they're all three great. And I own all three. Thoughts on AAL? Same thing. We talked about AAL already. AAL needs a break of 1838 was that recent high, and we'll see what we can get. Hey, you're welcome. No problem. No problem at all. Thank you, guys. FCL for an entry. This is Fuel Cell. Fuel Cell Energy. Fuel Cell, again, if you really want to get into your initial position, I'm all for it. But, again, for me, I would say around 7 if you want to get into that. Fuel Cell Energy. Again, a lot of EV. I have enough EV in my portfolio. I have Tesla and NIO, and I'm okay with that. I had this discussion with a student yesterday that when it comes to your portfolio, guys, try not to be too diversified, too many stocks in one sector. If you have home improvement, just own Lowe's and Home Depot. You don't need 9 of them. If you're in cloud, you don't need 9 companies. You don't need Snow, Adobe, Microsoft, Amazon, Salesforce. You don't need all 5. Pick 2 that you really like. For me, it's Microsoft and Amazon, and that's it. I don't need any more of this the cloud companies. Now, granted, I do own Adobe through SpyG, so again, that's different. So that's an ETF. But again, for example, sports gambling, I have Penn and DKNG, DraftKings. I don't need another one. I don't need MGM Grand. I don't need Caesars Entertainment. I just have 2. So I'd say pick 2 companies if you want payment processing, Visa, MasterCard, right? If you like banks, I own JP Morgan. I don't have 2 banks. But for example, one more, if you like fintech, which is financial technology companies, I own PayPal and Square. Those 2 kind of work together. Media companies, I own Disney. One other media company I own, I don't own any other media company, but Disney. For example, one more that I own that's 2 retail, Lululemon and Louis Vuitton. Those are the 2 that I own. Oh, I also own Nike, so that's 3. But again, you can bend the rules a little bit. I just don't want you guys owning 20 EV companies, 20 cloud companies just because. Try to stay focused as you can. Do your research. Pick 2 that you like. Pick 2 of the names that you like. If you like Snowflake, fine. Stick to Snowflake and then pick one more cloud company, whether it's Microsoft, Adobe, whatever you want. But again, try to stick to 2. That the rule of 2 seems to work. It works for my portfolio. Again, everyone's different. I understand. I just built a dividend portfolio for our investment club. That's a dividend portfolio that's just dividends. Like, it's not meant for growth. I know what I'm getting. The yield's around 7.73% on that portfolio. We just created for the investment club. We're tracking it with them, so they love it. Again, if there's one thing I want you guys to remember when it comes to your portfolio, is the rule of 2. I think that tends to be the easiest way to keep yourself disciplined. You don't need 20 EV companies. Don't have Fuel Cell, don't have Plug, don't have NIO, don't have Tesla, don't have all these crazy names. Again, I'm all for you investing whatever you want, but you don't need 9 electric vehicle companies. You don't need 20 retail companies. You don't need 6 banks in your portfolio. You just don't need it. It's a waste. You're really killing yourself. Let's see. Plug, again, I like Plug. Stay-at-home stocks to stand still soon. There's no vaccine that's been set. I mean, I guess, but nothing has really changed on that front. I appreciate you, Joel. Thanks. Riot, again, Riot is a good name if you want some aggressive growth. But Riot, again, it's been pretty resilient here, really based on Bitcoin. I'd rather own Bitcoin over Riot personally. I own Bitcoin. But if you want to own the stock of Riot and you have a little more of a cowboy in you, you like a little more high risk, you're young, I think Riot's fine for you. Quick question. What is a stock? What does profit mean? What is money? Have you ever heard of YouTube? All these not dumb questions. Very well said. Baidu calls today. Nothing there to really do anything with. If you break 150, maybe. How do you manage your buys on ETFs since you can't automate them? Well, when my ETF, I do an automatic deposit every Friday into my brokerage, and then like a bill pay, and then I just buy the ETF myself. Sometimes you're gonna have to do it yourself. Shop breakout. Yeah, Shop is great. Expensive on the options. Skip it. Long-term or options buys on DraftKings perspective. Long term, just own the stock. I would not trade DraftKings. MCD price, as we pointed up here, I would buy below 200. Below 200 MCD is a gift. I think MCD is an amazing company. I own it. I've been dying for an additional position. Below 200 or 205, you get it. Tesla 2021 pen of the year. Oh man, that's something I will go over on the 2021 top 10 stocks of 2021. We had a great top 10 stocks of 2020. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Everyone's been asking me, when is the 2021 list coming out? We will discuss Tesla, I promise. You will see. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Wednesday, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Happy trading.